Ready, boys?
Sure.
All right. Well, we're ready to rock here on a Thursday night. Parx Racing, the Pennsylvania Derby. How about that?
And the team is back and complete. We got Chad back, so the team is complete tonight.
Oh, yeah. The people at Parks, they're not going to be complete on Saturday. They're going to be really, really upset.
Well, it's going to rain. It's going to rain on their parade. That's the problem.
Hurricane in their parade.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So, but anyway, at least we're handicapping dirt races and not turf races, so we don't have to worry about switches and all that kind of stuff. So,
But a sloppy track will certainly take place. So
there you
doesn't
go.
matter. Let's do it.
That's it. So, how's life, Chad?
Tiring.
Yes, it is.
Very tiring.
And it's
It is
only
at
going to
that.
be more tiring for you this week. You're traveling.
Yeah, no, it's the life we sign up for. So, looking forward to it. Look, this is always exciting time. This is kind of the nitty gritty for the Breeders' Cup. I mean, the Cotillion and the Pennsylvania Derby. You should get a distaff and a classic horse. The Gallant Bob on the undercards, a race that I ran second in with Mind Your Biscuits that we parlayed into a second in the Breeders' Cup. So good day of racing over there in Parks. We'll be tuned in, and from there it's all sorts of prep races the next 2 weeks after that around the country. So
Oh
a
yeah,
lot to look forward to.
yeah. Next week is going to be huge,
Next week,
and
you got Churchill. You got opening weekend at Santa Anita. Plenty to talk about next week. But let's get this week finished with. So, where are we starting? At 12:30?
and not just next week, but the week after is like really big.
Yeah, well.
But
All right.
anyway, this week is this week, and that means the Pennsylvania Derby. That is race number 2 out of 2. Race number 13. We're going to start, though, with race number 12 at Parx Racing, the Cotillion Stakes. So we got both grade 1 stakes to handicap on the show today. And the 12th race should go off about 5:20 on Saturday. So again, we got to keep an eye on that off track. So we take a look at this particular race. The 2-to-1 shot is pretty mischievous. So this is the, without a doubt, favorite of the race. Brendan Walsh trained. The sheet line is very good. Never gone backwards after the first race. Had a good start with a 15, John, then an 18, and ever since then it's been even or ahead. And a couple of 9s the last 2 in grade 1 wins.
Well, she's never been off the board in 9 lifetime starts. She has 7 wins, a second and a third. Not only that, she's 1-for-1 on a wet track, so that won't be a problem. Gaffleone's riding out of his mind. He's as hot as any rider in the country, and Brendan Walsh is a terrific trainer. The race goes around her. I mean, I don't know that they're going to be able to beat her, to be honest with you. I would try to find some sort of value underneath to turn a 3-to-5 shot into maybe a 3-to-1 shot if you get the right exacta.
And she's
I mean,
1-for-1 on a sloppy track.
That's what
look,
I said.
I think that there. Look, I picked her to win the Oaks, right? She's very, very special filly, and Brandon's done a great job with her, and I agree with everything you're saying, John. But
But,
Here comes the but.
look,
but,
and I understand last time, the test probably wasn't her ideal distance, and really she didn't win that race. But that's neither here nor there. The last 2 races before that, the Acorn and the Oaks, she won by a neck and a head, right? So when you have a horse who I think is going to be a fairly large favorite here, maybe 3-to-5, 4-to-5. There is some reason for concern. She has a tendency to try and pull herself up in races. She makes the lead and thinks her job's done. Now, Brandon's well aware of it, and Tyler Gaffleone's well aware of it. It's not going to catch them by surprise. But we're still waiting for her to grow up a little bit because if she's going to move on and win this race and win the Breeders' Cup Distaff against some salty older fillies, she needs to really finish this race. And, look, she's tactical. She can be close to the pace. She can come from off of it. But I just want to see her finish a little bit more. It's tough for me to 1,000% endorse her the way the last couple races have been because she just doesn't – she's not firing through the lane like I really would like. So,
But you could also say that she does whatever she has to do to win. So
yeah, but it also takes some years off your life.
yeah, okay.
Well, only 2 other horses have single-digit sheet numbers. That's Just Catherine with a 9 in July at Saratoga, and the number 2 Ceiling Crusher, a 5-1 shot, ran at 8 at Santa Anita last April. I mean, yeah, this past April. So are either one of those horses on your mind, Chad, or do you have someone else then?
Well, I mean, John needs to talk to us a little bit about Ceiling Crusher. You know, he follows that California circuit a little bit closer to me. This is a filly by Mr. Big, who certainly runs good races and ran first time against Open Company last time in the Torrey Pines and was a much the best winner on that day. You know, seemingly is a filly that likes to have things her own way. When she didn't make the lead was the one race that she got beat. So I would look for her to follow out, kind of fire out of the gate there with the Candyman Maldonado. And she probably is fast enough to make the lead if she wants. So looking forward to hearing what you say about Ceiling Crusher. When it comes to Just Catherine, look, don't know what to make of her. Jose Jimenez came up here from Gulfstream earlier in the spring to Belmont, kind of didn't know who he was, won a couple races. Went to Saratoga, ran a bang-up second in the Wilton, which got a really fast number. Remember, we weren't sure what that 5 was on randomized, and randomized came back and won the Alabama off that number. Just Catherine came back and was a much the best, very impressive winner of the allowance race kind of last time. But 2 things to take away from Just Catherine. One, it's a quick turnaround. She ran September 4th, coming back September 23rd. I don't really love that move with fillies coming back in just 19 days. And I don't like to see, look, Javier Castellano's having an Eclipse Award winning season. I'm concerned because his agent, PJ Campbell, is a very, very sharp and shrewd man and likes to follow the money like Ron Anderson and some of these other top jock agents. This is $1 million race, and Castellano is not aboard this filly. So to me, I thought that was kind of interesting and unique because
is he at Parx on Saturday? Is he riding anything else?
he's not. I got to find. I'm going to look up right now where he is. But talk to us a little bit about the Doug O'Neill horse.
The Doug O'Neill horse is fine. I mean, she's 5 for 6 lifetime. She's being asked. Well, she's been a mile and a 16th at Santa Anita in a 4-horse field, so I wouldn't take much out of that race. But listen, she's done everything they asked of her. As she's coming off of a top, there's no question about it. And she also is coming back on 3 weeks, Chad. You know, you were talking about Just Catherine coming back in 19 days. Well, Ceiling Crusher's traveled across the country and it's coming back in 3 weeks. That's the only problem I have with Ceiling Crusher.
And Castellano's in Aqueduct on that day. He rides the stake on the grass, if there is grass, for Tom Morley and Colloquy. Very, very interesting. He has 6 mounts on the day. Very interesting here that he's not going there to ride that filly.
I think that's a great point you make.
What about Imonra?
Yeah, that's the 10-1 shot that I would take a shot underneath with.
Yeah, so what happened here? So you had some good progression.
The last race was at Charlestown. You could throw it out. It's a bull ring. 6 furlongs is like 2 times around or whatever.
Yeah, but John, if you're going to throw out the bull ring for Imonra, do you throw out the bull ring for Hoosier Philly? Because Hoosier Philly, look, she's been an eclectic sort this year. I mean, we thought we did the preview show of the year. We thought she might have been the best 3-year-old filly in the country this year. Nothing went right. Everything went wrong. Then she seemed to kind of wake up a little bit. She won a really good second in the Black Eyed Susan. She won the Monomoy Girl. And then you take the Charlestown Oaks, where she was awful. Now, again, this is on heels of her being scratched from the Coaching Club America Oaks opening weekend at Saratoga. So she's been battling some feet issues along the way. There are definitely concerns about Hoosier Philly. But if you're going to forgive...
The only reason I'm forgiving
Hoosier Philly.
But there's a difference. Hoosier Philly will be 3-1 or 7-2, and the other horse will be 15-1. That's the only reason. So when you could forgive a horse when the odds, make up for it. So that's the reason I ended up on using that.
But Chad brings up obviously a great point, because 22, 14, 12 heading in the right direction. So we draw a line through that crappy race. 6-1 isn't all that bad, but it is better obviously than the 8. But 6-1 still not bad.
6-1. I promise you, she will be shorter than 6-1. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I think she'll be shorter than 6-1.
A Colt is 6-1. This is the Irad Ortiz Chad Brown combo. They spent a nice little penny on the horse who's 2 for 2 off track, but has not done better than 3 straight 13s, John.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. What's a 13 going to do for you here? Not
I mean,
much.
the only good thing is she's never gone backwards.
No, but she's also only 5-1. She's not long enough.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with the Colt is she seems to run well when she finds a group that she's better than.
Right.
When there's horses
Not
that are
better
equal
than this
to
group.
her, she doesn't seem to. I mean, like she was good the other day in the Monmouth Oaks, but I don't know who she beat. I mean, Foggy Night riding pretty, just horses. When she won the Busan, she was kind of the steam horse going to the Gazelle, and she did not show up and was a terrible race with Promise for America walking the dog around the track. So it's tough for me to endorse a Colt here. The one horse I do want to mention though briefly, guys, it's the every other horse, right? There's some horses that run well every other race for whatever reason, and that's the 7 Defining Purpose. If you look at her stats, every other race she wins. You go back to when she broke her maiden, then she was terrible, then she won, then she third, sixth, then she won, then she was terrible, then she won.
We call that an alternating line on the sheets. Okay. Good race, bad race, good race, bad race.
So she's due. She's due.
Yeah, but the good, you're talking about the 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the good thing is, I mean, if you just look, of course, at the sheets, you have 17, 13, and 11.
Right, and it's time for a bounce, in my opinion. At 4-1, I would play that horse to react.
Yeah, you want better than 4-1, no question about that.
So we've mentioned every horse in the race basically, and we were able
to. Who is your pick, John?
I like Pretty Mischievous the best, the 3. I would play 2 exactas, 3 over 2 and 8.
3 over 2 and 8.
Yep.
Look, Parx is it's a wonky, weird track.
Especially when it gets wet, by the way. Then you talk about watch.
But that being said, I mean, she is the class of the race and Pretty Mischievous. I think she's tough to beat. Despite me trying to beat her, I don't think I can. So I'll agree with you, John. I'll take Pretty Mischievous on top. Maybe a banger, Stealing Crusher trying to take them all the way, underneath with Hoosier Philly. One of them kind of holding second with Defining Purpose, just Catherine underneath too. But I do think the race goes through Pretty Mischievous.
2, 4, and 7 with the 3 on top.
3 over 2, 4, 7 for Chet. And what do you have, Greg?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with the 8. You got the 3, 2, 8. I'll do the 3, 8.
3, 8.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the 13th and featured for the day, the Pennsylvania Derby.
And this should go off about 10 after 6.
6:10 Eastern time.
Oh, I have to ask you guys a question regarding last week, John. I forget which race it was, but the horse that had problems with the shoe. I'm surprised. I mean, that happens. You can just wait around for 10 or 15 minutes to watch the horse get shoe repaired.
Well, in a major stake race, they do everything they can to avoid scratching the horse. And usually there's a blacksmith in the paddock or on the ground somewhere. I don't know what took the guy so long to find. But, yeah, they do it in a race like that.
All right. Yeah, I was just, geez, they've held up the whole damn day. Okay, so.
Sorry they upset you, Greg.
Yeah. I forgot it like 5 minutes later. Okay, so here we go with the Pennsylvania Derby, and you have the favorite of the races, Bob Baffert's Reincarnate, the 3-1 shot, who's never run a single-digit sheet number. But Saudi Crown, the 7-2 shot, the Brad Cox horse, has an 8, an 8, an 8, and a 7. That horse has never not run a single-digit sheet number.
He's never gone backwards. He got beat in nose last time out by Forte in that controversial race, whether there should have been a DQ or not.
Come on, there's no way this horse is going to go off at 7-2. Come on. We can't be that lucky, right?
Chad, what's he going off? He'll probably go off 8-5.
I mean, I don't understand why Reincarnate is the favorite in this race.
Reincarnate has 0 shot. Zero.
It makes no sense to me at all why Reincarnate is the
favorite. I'll tell you why. It's the Bob Baffert factor. That's why.
Yeah, but the Bob Baffert, I don't remember the last time he won a race at. Well, he won this race last year, right? With Ty, but
Didn't Table win? Was that
Yeah,
last?
he's the last one. It's not for me. Look, JJ Hernandez is a great up and coming jockey. I don't know if he's ever ridden a race in Parx. It's a very very quirky surface to ride for the very first time. I'd be happier if he had some other races kind of on the undercard of the race to get used to things. Um, he's not for me. I mean, he's never really he's never really run well in a big race. Even in the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby, he was an afterthought. He was never going to win the race. I mean, he won last time the Los Al Derby. I understand everybody loves Skinner. Everybody loves Skinner, and that's why they love Reincarnate. But I just doesn't do anything for me. I'm sorry. And he's the outside post. He's not really going to dictate terms. He's going to try and send, but I mean, there's plenty of speed inside of him. I'm against that horse. And look, Saudi Crown, he deserves this opportunity. He's run really, really well in all four of his races. He's a special horse. He took a while to get going. Had some issues with his feet along the way, um, but I know. Look, he spent the winter at the third at trackside, the Churchill, with Brad's son Blake, and Blake was telling us before this horse ever ran, a month, 2 months before he ever ran, how special this horse was, and uh, he's been right. And Windstar certainly, with Always Dreaming, has been rooting for him all along. It's the second horse that the owners ever owned. The first horse won the Saudi Derby, so obviously they have some luck and spent a lot of money at the sales this year. Very excited to see them participate in a big way this year at the Keeneland September sale. But look, he's done nothing wrong. I mean, the Dwyer, he got beat by uh, I thought maybe a questionable ride from Castellano. I thought he was the best horse on that day. And then he came back and he ran a banger and he galloped out really well as well. He's a cool horse. He's a fast horse, which plays well to that track over there. I think Giroux is going to have a better game plan in mind. Last time it felt like Saudi Crown and Angel of Empire for the Brad Cox barn were riding to beat Forte rather than riding to win the race. That's just what it felt like to me. And in this race, when Giroux sits there and goes, "I'm on the best horse," I like a confident Florent Giroux, and that's what we're going to get here. We're going to get a very confident Florent Giroux.
We talked about Scotland at the Travers, and he didn't really look
He
good.
ran an 8. He did what he was supposed to do. He ran
Yeah.
okay.
Well, he came in with the 3/8, ran a 12. I'm not sure I don't remember that. What was it, off track a little bit?
It rained earlier that morning or something. I
Yeah,
remember.
so I don't know if that, but anyway, Scotland numbers wise has the best competition for Saudi
Why?
Crown.
Whoa! What about Magic Tap? I
Yeah,
mean, aren't
Magic. Well, Magic Tap's obviously got a good line. 20, 11, 11, 9. Those last three are excellent.
they okay?
But I just 888. That's
88812 though, right?
what I'm saying. The 12.
Okay.
That's the
Well,
thing. That's the disappointing.
and the 12 was run on a wet track.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And he's going to get bet. Maybe he went off 7-1 against Arcangelo. So
What do you think about Magic Tap in Scotland, Chad?
Scotland was kind of the buzz horse. Looked good in the paddock too in the Travers. Really kind of disappointed. It was the Travers was a weirdly run race because on paper it looked like Scotland was lone speed, and I don't know if they were concerned about the mile and a quarter distance or whatever. But Junior really kind of
choked him down a little.
I just felt like he didn't let him be a free running horse. That being said, this is a different race. He's not going to make the race in this race. This race kind of goes back to the race that he ran at Churchill, where he's going to have to come from off it. Now he's shown that he can do it, and there's a lot to like about that. And I know the barn briefly considered running him against older horses next week in the Woodward, but this is the right race for him. I think he's going to go off at 6-1. Can you forgive the muddy track in the Travers? Yeah, if you want to say that, that was kind of not his best running style. Magic Tap's a cool horse. He was a hard fought winner. He's an improving horse. I liked the allowance race last time, but I still think he's got a little ways to go. I don't think he's on the same level right now of horses like Saudi Crown. So Magic Tap's a horse that I look forward to when we do our preview show for 2024. He's a horse that certainly might catch my fancy. I can see him running races like the Discovery end of the year, riding that momentum, but I don't think he's there yet. So I'm going to fade Magic Tap a little bit compared to some of the others in this race.
Let's talk about maybe a little bit of a longer shot. What is your opinion, John, on West Coast Cowboy, the 12-1?
He's fine. I was using Silty Crown over the 2, 4, and 7. So that would be Dreamlike, Magic Tap, and the 7 is a West Coast Cowboy. I think he'll go off longer than the 12-1.
Yeah,
and I don't like the fact that he's coming off of Lasix, but he can handle moisture in the track. His races on wet tracks were both good, so that's important. 3 times actually he's run on a wet track, and he's run well on all 3 of them.
And he's got a hometown rider, right?
Yeah.
No.
Tyler Connor, where is he from?
He rides at Penn National. I mean, it's like it's like saying
it's like a sister track.
Yeah, it's like somebody plays for the Cubs that they're playing in the White Sox stadium.
Yeah, okay, I got it wrong.
So the sheet line, if you look at it, never gone backwards until the last race. That was the first time it went backwards. That was a 12. So not a bad, finished second in a grade 3. Has raced in 2 off-track races the last 3 and raced in a sloppy track and won that race. That was the first race, I believe, of his career.
I don't like this one. I don't like this one. He's just a horse.
But he's a long shot.
He's a horse. A horse is a horse.
Trying to make some money here. Come on.
If you're trying to make
sloppy
some money,
track.
I'm going to give you 2 horses that you have to play underneath Saudi.
Okay.
It's going to be the 2 Dreamlike, who his wood race as a maiden was very, very good. And then his maiden race was very, very good. He stumbled really, really bad at the start of that race last time out that Magic Type won. It was a weird race. Tapachus was all over the racetrack like Tapachus always is. I think he's much better than that performance since. Look, Irad's always going to ride first call for Rapoli, so don't overlook into the fact that he's riding the horse. But you do get Irad Ortiz at 10-1, which he's going to be every bit of 10-1. And the other horse that I like at a price is the 8 Gilmore. And look, I have concerns with how far Gilmore wants to go, but if there's a track that carries horses, it's Parx. And Gilmore, he's run well. He won at a mile last time on a slight, a little bit of an off track. I think he'll run well on an off track. I don't know how far he wants to go, but like I said, I think this track kind of carries him a little bit. And talking to Brandon Walsh earlier in the week of the Keeneland sale, he was quite bullish on Gilmore. We were talking about Pretty Mischievous, and he mentioned that he was bringing Gilmore up for the Derby as well. And I said, well, that's a little bit of an ambitious spot. And he said, no. I said, he's taking him there because he deserves it. He's training like a good horse, and he trained well. Also.
He earned it.
So he's a horse. Again, you get a legend in Hall of Famer John Velasquez. You're probably going to get every bit of 10-1, and he's a horse for sure that I think I'm going to be surprised if Gilmore doesn't hit the board. I think Saudi Crown's the winner, and I think Gilmore hits the board. You figure out however you want to play it around that, but I think you're rewarded with that because I think Gilmore is a little bit of a price.
Well, so is Dreamlike, and so is West Coast Cowboy, the other horses. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Those are 2 other really good long shots.
Listen, the first thing you do to bet this race is you throw out Reincarnate.
Yes.
If he wins, you lose. That's all.
Yes.
I mean, that's
and then you got to hope Magic Tap doesn't come in.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
And then you go with those long shots.
Right. 3 on top of 2. Whatever.
7, 8.
Exactly. Okay.
What about those 2 horses that don't have riders?
Il Miracolo is going to be ridden by Michael Sanchez, who's actually a pretty good rider. Move there for Antonio Sano, who's looking for a career win 950. He's trained really good in the morning time. His race last time, it's ironic because Louis Saez got hurt the very next day.
Who's on Croupi? Chad, who's riding Croupi?
No. I'm sure that I'd say it's 50-50 that he runs. Look, Il Miracolo he's a nice horse, but man, you watch the replay of that last race in the Smarty Jones. It looked like Louis Saez was going to fall off and get hurt that whole entire race. I mean, he was in the parking lot scalping tickets by the end of the race. I don't know. He was just trying to get his picture taken before the winner's circle. I don't know. He was very much veering out. Now he doesn't do it in the morning time. I watched him train this morning actually here at Belmont. He looks really good, but in the back of your mind, you have to be a little bit of a concern of how bad he got out at that track in a prep race for this race.
Yeah, the 10 Il Maracalo ran at 10 last time and 9 before that. So those are the 2 best races of his career coming into this one. All right, so John, your pick?
I like the 3. Saudi Crown. I'm putting them over the 2, 4, and 7.
2, 4, and 7.
Underneath.
Chad.
I'm going to take Saudi Crown. I'm going to play him with the 2, 5, and 8.
And I'll
Greg.
go 2, 7, 8.
3 over 2, 7, 8.
Yep. So we all have the 3 in the 12th and the 3 in the 13th.
And we all have the 2 and 8 underneath.
Yes. No, well, John, no, you don't have the. Which
I have
race?
2, 4, 7. I have 2, 4,
Yeah, you
7.
didn't. You're the only one.
2 and 8.
So you need to go 2, 4, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Add that in your picks.
Sure.
So, all right. So that is it for this week. Again, next week, the next few weeks are going to be pretty damn fun. The last few Breeders' Cup win and you're in races starting next week. You've got those aqueduct races. You got the grade 2 Vosburg. You have the Mars Attacks ACAC at Churchill. That's a grade 3. And the Awesome Again is the big one. That's the grade 1 at Santa Anita. And they also have 3 other grade 2s.
Okay.
And then the week after that's going to be even better. So
sounds like a plan.
Thanks,
all right,
gentlemen.
Guys. Have a great
Good seeing you again, Chad.
Which of these 3 tracks will I show up at this weekend?
Yes,
Churchill
which one?
Next weekend. New York this weekend.
Next weekend, I'll be one of the 3. We'll see. My horse is nominated for all 3 races. We'll see where he ends up.
I got an inside scoop. See ya. Bye, guys.
Oh, wait. Okay. We'll get it off the air. Okay. Thanks, guys.